mate. Oh, look at that. You're looking like a videographer.
Where are we going?
To the gym. I'm not going to say which gym yet because they might not let us in. And there's a concern that if we don't get in, it's going to be really awkward. I'm like, oh, we're going to this gym, then we actually don't go to that gym. It's going to be quite concerning. So if they don't let us in, we'll be at the gym joint. If they do let us in, I'll tell you when we get there. Stop it. You're in trouble. Stop it. You need to behave yourself. You look, this guy's a hoodlum.
What's the most expensive day pass you ever had to buy?
Probably New York, $50. No, tell a lie. No, Gold's Gym, Venice Beach. Also $50. Although, because basically what they did was actually really annoying when I went, is if you had proof that you were a resident of LA, it was like $50 a month to join. If you didn't have proof, it was $300. So it's basically they had tourist charges, and I was like, it makes sense because people go and I went, but it's not that good a gym. So if you ever go to Gold's Gym in Venice Beach, Venice in general, it's not actually that good, and it's full of annoying people like me. Apparently it's here. I'm not buying this. I'm not gonna lie. Apparently it's right there. It's here. It is actually here. Love to pass. That's how I did my driving test with. That's so funny. Look, basically we don't know where the gym is, but we're gonna find it. So which way was Mazda? Mazda's right there, so it's left. Probably see this video and say, "Poor, how dare I come back to my gym again?" So that's a stupid location for a gym.
I can see it.
This road is not made for my car. If it scrapes, I'm gonna leave. This is giving me anxiety. I actually need a nervous wee now. There is a sparking spot. I bet they have really good parking, Harry. They ain't got good parking. I hope they've got good places to wee. Yeah, I'm quite nervous, I'm not gonna lie. It's a bit, I don't like new places.
Let's go.
Quick, look hard. I mean like intimidating, not the other hard. What do I need? So basically I'm doing pull. You probably don't care, but people around me probably think I'm an absolute sausage, and guess what? I am. So here's the situation. YouTube content's a bit dry. I like, obviously, the reaction stuff is fun, within reason, but I feel like I need to diversify a bit more, do other things, transitioning between some more vlog-based training workout stuff, training footage stuff like this, and also some reaction-based. So a bit more diversity on the channel, because quite frankly, why not? Maybe it'll be fun seeing a slightly different video style, and maybe I can educate you along the way. So, for example, education, prime row. Couple of things. Firstly, most people don't have access to prime equipment. You can essentially alter the resistance profile of the machine, so you can either make it more lengthened, mid, or shortened bias, depending on the setting it's on, which is cool, very cool. Most people don't need to care about that. Most people don't need to stress about that. I'm not worrying about it today. And also, what we are doing though, is obviously pull down, kind of split it into 4 primary pull movements for 4 biceps. Neutral grip, sagittal plane, wide vertical pull, like a pull down, pull up, something like that. Then a 45-degree row, then a 60 to 90-degree row, which essentially splits you across 2 primary planes of motion, being sagittal and frontal, whilst also targeting upper back, lats, traps, rear delts, everything. So lats are more of a weakness for me, hence why we're starting more like a lat bias row, hence the neutral grip. And you'll notice that I keep my elbow very close to the body, which is exactly what we're trying to achieve when looking at lat dominant movement. Boom, boom. Little word of advice, you don't need to do your straps whole way up if you don't want to. I just do 1 rotation. And they should be tight. If they're not tight, they're not really helping. Breath. Couple of things. Number 1, when I'm looking at lat biased rowing like so, I'm not letting my upper arm go beyond my torso. You don't need to. Lats reach their peak shorter position when your upper arm is in line with your torso. Anything beyond that is bringing muscles I don't want to work in this case. Other thing is rest between sides. I've mentioned this before. I'm out of breath, I'm fatigued. If I go straight from my left side, which I've just done, my weaker side, to my right side, there is going to be a fatigue carryover where that right side is going to suffer from the byproducts of the first side. So I'll rest a couple of minutes and then go. Oh, out of breath. A couple of things. Oh, so number 1, you'll notice when I row, the machine is going to want to pull me out I don't want that. I want my upper arms to be close to the body, so you'll get a little bit of lateral flexion where I'm leaning into the movement slightly, which isn't actually a bad thing. A assistance function of the lats is slight lateral flexion anyway, so leaning into the movement when you do a single arm lat bias row is not a bad thing at all, so don't worry about that. The other thing, training intensity. I have this conversation with clients a lot. This has actually been indicated in research, is you probably think you're training a lot harder than you actually are. Realistically, my right side probably had about 2 or 3 left in the tank. My left side hit roughly near failure, maybe 1 in the tank. So obviously I have to match strong side to weak side to then obviously close the gap on imbalances. But in general, you do want to be training closer to failure. And if you can train with a straight face, but you don't look like you're about to poo your pants, you're probably not actually training that hard. Now we wait and rest. I can see that man's willy. I went to an all-boys school, I've seen worse, to be honest. But I've now gone through, I'm at the age now where I have loads of intrusive thoughts where I want to say or ask silly questions. So I just say them now, and then people just think I'm strange. But I realize I am actually quite strange, so. I'm really left-handed. I'm really right-handed, so if I do anything with my left hand, I'm really right-handed. So if I do anything with my left hand, like putting straps on, it's so difficult on my left hand. Honestly, I'm trying, but it's just, bleh. You're allowed to look like a twat in the gym because no one cares. So an indicator of a failure on my behalf there was the fact that my second set, I actually ended up getting another rep compared to my first set. That indicates to me that my first set wasn't hard enough, or wasn't as hard as I thought it was. Although I thought I was closer to failure, I probably was not quite as close as I thought, which means that set is by default probably less effective than I was hoping. So realistically, the mistake people make is they have this assumption that all reps will provide sufficient stimulus. That's not true. So if you're going to the gym or you're resistance training in any capacity, a goal of yours is either going to be to get more muscle or to get stronger. And they kind of go hand in hand. So if you do a set of 15 reps and the last rep is failure, fantastic. But that doesn't mean all of those reps were stimulating. Realistically, the first X number of those reps are probably providing as much stimulus for growth as sitting on the couch. Again, probably not literally, but you get the idea. It's those reps closest to failure that are going to be deemed the effective reps. Those are the ones that are really going to matter. So if you do a set that's really far from failure, you're not actually getting any effective reps in that set, which means the set's not very productive. If you do a set where you're pushing to failure, you're going to get multiple stimulating reps, or ones that are providing enough stimulus for growth. Therefore, that set will be productive, which is why it's really important. I stress this to clients a lot, and they probably get annoyed at me for doing so. That training intensity is probably one of the most important things you can do. Whether you want to build muscle, get stronger, lose weight, whatever your goal is, you still need to train hard. Because quite frankly, if you're not training hard, you're probably not achieving what you're hoping to achieve. And most people don't see the results they want because they actually don't train how they should and train hard enough. So hold yourself accountable. It makes a difference. That's good, thank God for that. Basically, we were going to do pull-ups, but we can't do pull-ups because it's too busy, so we're doing pull-downs. I think I mentioned this before, how it's really important and really useful to understand biomechanics. Because you look at, okay, well, if I can't do this movement, why was I doing it? Okay, so I was doing pull-ups for a wide grip vertical pulling motion that works my lats in the frontal plane being out here. Okay, that's busy. What other movement has a similar movement pattern that works the same muscles in the same position? Pull downs. So it kind of gives you that option to better understand what you can do as alternatives. Oh, I can't do this bicep curl. What other bicep curl does a similar thing? Oh, okay, I have all these options now. Hence why I also always kind of nag on about the importance of biomechanics and kind of explain things so you can better understand and educate yourself how to basically restructure your programming or work out if needed if things are busy. A little bit of body English where I'm moving the body with the movement is not a bad thing. My shoulder mobility is shocking. If it means I get a little bit of extra range of motion, having a little bit of momentum is not going to kill me. Things don't need to be perfect, things don't need to be textbook. Really depending on the individual, their mobility and their leverages. I can't get down. Yeah, it's all right. Best thing in the world. So when you eat a lot of food, probably doesn't apply to a lot of people, is what really helps is to be able to drink your calories. In that bottle, there's nearly 600 calories. So when I'm eating 5,000 a day, boom, lifesaver. It's just a combination of carbs, so dextrose, maltodextrin, and also whey. So get some good carbs in there, get some good protein. It's a dream. So I think, funnily enough, where I live, we don't actually have that many incredible gyms. We've got a couple of gyms I train at, which are really good, which I respect and really appreciate. But sometimes it's nice to venture out a little bit further, try something new, and also go somewhere kit is a bit more varied. Like things like Prime, I'm not a massive fanboy personally. Like, it's good, it's cool stuff, but I think there's other great brands out there. But it's still nice to use it occasionally and just have the variety and the fun. What I do try and do is, although yes, it's nice to play around with different bits of kit when you go to new gyms, I do try and keep my session as similar as possible. So I'll know what movement patterns I've got, like a frontal plane, central plane, etc., etc. And then from that, I'll try and replicate a similar movement pattern with just a different bit of kit. Cardio. So basically, remember I told you about Prime machines basically have the option to basically load in different positions in the movement. That's what we're doing here. We're playing around with the machine to load in different positions. What that essentially means is it's heavier and lighter in certain areas. So you can essentially dictate somewhat whether the movement is more length of position bias, shorter position, X, Y, Z. Again, for most people, it's irrelevant, and for me, largely, it's usually irrelevant. But if we have it, we might as well play with it. Let's find out if this is a warm-up. Oh yes, warm-up. Taylor, behind the camera, tells me I need to plug the t-shirt. So, t-shirt. Turn around, boom, boom, boom. Oh, wait, a great idea. Actually, a great question. Where can you buy them, you ask? I'm sure you did. tfnl.uk, it's always linked in the description of every video. And sometimes even the comment section too. So remember that. If you actually like the look of these t-shirts and you're considering buying one, then if you use code SAUSAGE, you get a discount, and that discount only applies to the first 5 people. So don't wait around. Do some things that are relevant to clicking the button and using sausage, because I couldn't think of another discount code. I need some more weight. This is the worst bit, trying to get these on. This might be too heavy now, I'm not gonna lie. So beforehand, when I told you we were doing row motions, we weren't letting our upper arm pass the body. Now we are. We're trying to get as much retraction as possible, which is why we're letting the arm pass the body to bring in more of the mid-back and some of the mid to upper back muscles here. So we're then making a more complete back workout. I need some more weight. I don't know where it is. I feel like it still might be too light. All right, so last back movement today. Like I said, we've gone boom, narrow grip row, wide grip pull down, 45 degree row, 45 degree row, and now we're going to a higher degree row where we're looking at like 60 to 90 degrees to bring a lot more of the upper back muscles in, especially the traps. So there's this massive misconception that if you want to work your traps, you need to do loads of shrugs. My traps are fairly developed. I haven't done a shrug for 7 years or something ridiculous. I never used a shrug anyway, because you just don't need to. If you do enough rows with enough retraction, your traps are probably going to be fine. But I suspect a lot of you probably aren't that fussed about traps anyway, so I'm just talking to myself now. Despite being nearly at the end of our session, I'm still warming up. So especially when you start lifting heavier, I find that it's quite nice to familiarize the muscles with the movement. If I go straight into doing dumbbell curls first, when the biceps are now a prime mover after having done my back work, I just don't feel like they're ready to do so. So I always just do one quick warm-up set, or more like a priming set, or like a familiarization set, just so when I go into the working weight, I feel like I'm less likely to hurt myself because I'm quite fragile. Taylor laughs at me because I put my phone in my shoe, because when I'm curling, I hit my pocket and I don't want to break my phone. So, you know what? Mock me now, but when I don't have a broken phone, even though my phone's already cracked, it's not the point. Also, trick tip, using straps on dumbbell curls, game changer, honestly. I did a video not that long ago speaking about how no one cares how much you lift, basically, or how much you leg press or something. You know what? No one cares how much you dumbbell curl, apart from me. Biceps are the only muscle that exists. All right, so basically you're gonna see a couple of things. So watch me when I curl, well, like you have a choice, that's literally what you're watching. But you'll notice at the top of the movement, a lot of people, when they get to the top, they stack their wrists above their elbows, so the forearm's relatively vertical, where you're essentially resting. All tension is off the biceps at that point, because you're essentially just resting the dumbbell on your shoulder, essentially. So you'll notice I stop a little bit forward to keep tension on the bicep. There's also the argument that biceps assist with shoulder flexion slightly, so having a bit of an assistance function there is not the end of the world. When you're done, put your weights away. It's really annoying when people just leave their weights out. Stop being a sausage. Machines are adjustable for a reason. When you get in a machine, don't assume it's going to be set up for you. So for example, when I'm doing a preach curl, I like to be a little bit lower. So come around here, shout out the little pin at the back here. It means you can usually adjust the seat, drop it down a couple. My chest is roughly in line with the top of the pad. I get in position, get a good stretch without touching down. That feels better. So adjust the machine and look around. Machines usually have little notes on them somewhere, like here does, to show where it can be adjusted. I got dry left. That's better. This is probably one of my more like exercise dense sessions where I do more exercises, but you don't need to do a lot of sets. Honestly, I say most of my stuff is 2 sets. Occasionally I might do 3, occasionally I might do 1. But realistically, a lot of people hammer loads of volume just to make up for the fact they don't train hard enough for it. If you train harder, you could probably get away with doing less volume. It's worth a try. Basically, that's essentially the session. Stemming from that, don't worry, the video isn't over yet, unfortunately for you. We are going to be reviewing said gym and do a bit of a catch-up and round-up at the end of this. So you'll probably see us in the car very shortly. So basically, round-up of the gym. Better than expected, not gonna lie. Obviously, it was a bit of a troublesome find. That's probably our fault, not theirs. But no, it was actually really good. Good kit, so good brands. So when it comes to good brands, I'm quite snobby with things. A lot of your gyms are going to have like Techno Gym, Matrix. Quite frankly, I hate them. Techno Gym, Matrix, probably 2 of my least favorite gym brands, or gym equipment brands I should say. They're really commonly used in commercial gyms. A lot of commercial gyms have partnerships and like deals with them, which I get makes sense from a financial perspective, but just the machines themselves, not all of them, but a lot of their machines are just quite bad. To be honest, they're not made very well. And when you speak about like, or when you think about how muscles work and how movement patterns should work, they are not particularly favourable. So they just don't really line up with how you actually want to work certain muscles, which is a bit of a shame. But brands like Atlantis, Cybex, Prime, Nautilus, things like that, although probably a little bit harder to come by, if your gym does have them, a lot of their bits of kit are really good, which we like. The downside is they're just rare and hard to come by. So that's a really cool looking VW, I'm not gonna lie. A little bit of wheel spin there, that wasn't me. But as a whole, I think the gym was really good actually. And I would definitely go back. It's not that far away. I say not that far away, it's still like 45 minutes. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not that bad. Good vibes. Quite busy, considering it's the middle of the afternoon. Gyms are normally quite empty, but it was quite busy. I was gonna say people need to get a job, but apparently so do I. Would definitely go back, wasn't silly money, good stuff. Great in this gym in Watford, none of you are near me, none of you are in my country, but if you were, I'd recommend it. So basically, we're outroing it now because no one wants to watch me eat. So content on the channel is going to change somewhat. A lot of it's obviously been reaction based, reacting to. We like that, that's still going to stay in some capacity, but what I'm trying to do is kind of test some different things. In an ideal world, what I do is 50-50, so it's like 50% like in the gym training with me and like I can talk you through things and explain things, which is probably a bit more helpful when it comes from like educational perspective. And then the other half will still be the reacting content. So what we're going to do is we'll test this maybe a couple of videos a month. If it goes well, we'll shift it to 50-50. But until then, let me know what you think about the video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Let me know what you want from this channel, because again, I'm going to do it if you want to see it. And that's essentially the video. So TFNL merch, like the t-shirts and stuff. Remember, code sausage for some discount for the first 5 people. Link down below in the description. And also the usual bits. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel because it means a lot. And if you don't like the video, then dislike it and send me an abusive message so I feel like someone actually watched it. But until the next one, thank you for tolerating me. Thank you for tolerating my waffle in the gym this time. And thank you for tolerating the video.